Powered by Riverside FM.
Taphophilia. No, it's not a disease. It's the term for a strong interest in cemeteries, graves, and burial practices. The word is derived from the Greek, taphos for tomb, and philia for love or strong affinity. It captures those who have a curiosity or appreciation of graveyards. Specifically, people with taphophilia might enjoy visiting cemeteries, studying epitaphs, or photographing graves. Typically, it's not focused on an interest in death and dying as such, but rather a focus on the places and the artifacts connected with cemeteries. Earlier this year, I visited Highgate Cemetery in North London, probably the most famous cemetery in London, if not the country. It's well known for its ornate Victorian monuments, atmospheric colonnades, overgrown sections, Egyptian Avenue, and being the resting place of multiple famous individuals. Those include Michael Faraday, Karl Marx, and more recently, Sergei Litvinenko and George Michael. It is also one of the Magnificent Seven. The Seven are a group of large historic cemeteries built in London during the mid-19th century. They were created in response to a public health crisis, with smaller churchyard burial grounds becoming overcrowded. This led to the passing of the Cemetery Act in 1832, which encouraged the creation of private, spacious cemeteries outside of the city centre. Following this, between 1832 and 1841, 7 major cemeteries were established in a rough ring outside of central London, and they later became nicknamed the Magnificent Seven. In chronological order, they are Kensal Green Cemetery, one of the largest and known for its neoclassical architecture; West Norwood Cemetery, landscaped in the Gothic style; Highgate Cemetery, as I just mentioned, probably the most famous of the cemeteries, and now a tourist attraction with regular guided tours; Abney Park Cemetery, a non-denominational cemetery designed in an arboretum layout; Nunhead Cemetery, possibly the least known, and now also a nature reserve; Brompton Cemetery, designed like an open-air cathedral, and today managed by the Royal Parks; and finally, Tower Hamlets Cemetery, opened for East London's working class, and now, like Nunhead, also a nature reserve. Of the 7, I have, not through intention, visited 4 of them. Highgate Cemetery was part of a deliberate tour, but Abney Park Cemetery is part of the Capitol Ring walking trail in London, and Nunhead Cemetery and Tower Hamlets Cemetery are both relatively close to where I live. For taphophiles, I can see that these cemeteries certainly have a particular atmosphere. You could easily spend time in them either sitting or wandering around exploring the monuments and the undergrowth. Having visited 4, much like in the film The Magnificent Seven, only 3 remain. Being something of a completist, I shall now have to visit the other 3. However, for 3 of the 4 visits that I've already done, they have only been visits where I have been passing through, either by walking or running. Take Nunhead Cemetery. I first came across this when running on a point-to-point route across part of London, and my route clearly took me through the cemetery. When I first arrived, I hesitated, but it was a wide path, and I took it in order to avoid a significant detour. I have subsequently, on other routes, also included parts of cemeteries, but I've always felt quite self-conscious when doing so. It made me wonder whether or not it's acceptable to run through a cemetery, or might that be disrespectful? There's no straightforward answer, but I have come to the following balanced conclusion. I think it is acceptable to run in cemeteries if they have been broadened out such that their purpose is now to be more of a public space, including when they are nature reserves. Obviously, if doing so, you should avoid any active service or mourning and preferably stick to daylight hours. Further, I think you should avoid any form of running or activity that involves significant exertion, i.e., I would not choose to run intervals in a cemetery. Why is this? I think it's at odds with the peaceful nature of the cemeteries. Any activity should reflect that. Running at a gentle pace is not too dissimilar to walking at a gentle pace. However, thrashing it, sweating, panting, and putting in significant effort is not a restful situation, and therefore, as a mark of respect, I think is best avoided. In short, as the village elder in the Magnificent Seven says, you should be like the wind, blowing over the land and passing on.